everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video I'm excited about them all, right? But this one's cute. It's like ready for spring. It feels like a retro type 70s situation. Is that a flower? It's abstract? It's cute. I love the pop of the pink and the different shapes, and I sculpted some nails on the set, so you'll get to see that also later in the video. But my client's nails came in looking like this, hence me sculpting her two middle fingers. And she wanted her lipstick shape gone. She had it for a while. She wanted to change up and she wanted to cut down her length. So off camera, I went ahead and did that. I basically cut off the tip of her lipstick shape nail, and that was her new length, and just matched them all to that. And she changed her pinky nails, which were previously lipstick shape, into stiletto shape. What I'm doing now is I'm using the prep bit from Elegance, and you see me carve a canal around the crystals essentially so I can dig under them and pop them off. And I'm just using an old set of worn out nippers, and I'm using my thumb to protect the client's skin, so just in case the nipper was to slip, it will stab and attack me and not them. And I know I'm not using that prep bit as its namesake, but it's a great bit. You can use different tools to do different things. There's many and plenty of ways to get results out of things. So I'm using the cutie patootie bit right now, and I am going around the cuticle area to help remove the cuticle from the surface. Then this also helps, you see me kind of buffing away the dead skin as I see it and come across it. And this is just kind of pushing back the eponychium at the same time exfoliating her skin, because those diamond burrs are on the tip of that bit. And then, as I mentioned, flaking off that cuticle at the cuticle area on the natural nail. That's what I really meant to say. So this is the itty bitty bit, and this is another diamond bit. And I'm just going in with this bit for some fine detail work. This client has much more like coarse, a little bit more stiff cuticle. So I'm pulling out the tools to get it off. So this prep took a while, which doesn't seem like that on camera, of course. And my client kind of injured her nail. You'll see on this hand. You'll see it from the beginning. So try to work around that as well, just in that top little left corner. Just a little, I don't know. I didn't ask her what happened, but she said she had put her nails through, hence the broken nails. And they were too long for her, and her nails curve a lot. Yeah, so who knows what happened. So I'm just going in, and I'm using this in forward. I'm right-handed, so using a bit in forward motion is me going from right to left, which is how you would normally, if you're right-handed, use it. And then I like to put it in reverse and start working from left to right, as you can see here. And this way, I'm getting just skin. If it's grown a certain way, I can knock it off the other way. And it could be a great help if you find that you're having a problem getting the cuticle area as clean as you want it to. I say clean, of course, I mean getting the cuticle removed from the surface. If you're having an issue, try using the bits both ways, but specifically the diamond bits for prep. And now I'm using my Buffy bit, and I'm going to be using this both in forward and reverse as well. At the time, I'm using it in reverse, so I'm using it from left to right. And if you're left-handed, just flip everything I'm saying. Yeah, just do the opposite. Because these diamond bits can be used in both directions. Not every bit can be used in both directions, but depending on how the bit is constructed, it can. Elegance has a bit, and it's called the Lefty Lou. So if you're looking for a good left-handed bit, it's not for prep. It would be for more so finish filing, potentially debulking. But just to let you know, it's out there. And for those who ask, I'm using my Elegance Zippy e-file. I've been using it for a while now. So just so you know, I think the past at least 6 months or something like that. I get a lot of questions. Using my Zippy e-file, absolutely love it. It goes to 35,000 RPMs. It's rechargeable. No vibration. Is very high quality. I've had a few quality brands, and it just meets the standard. You need a very good e-file, or don't do it. Honestly, just because it can do more harm than good. If it's not a good e-file and there's vibration, it doesn't have enough torque and stuff like that, it can just make your job harder. It can endanger your client or yourself, the integrity of your natural nails, and you can cut yourself if it wraps around, depending if you're using safety bits or not. So yeah, let's just not. So I cleanse nails off with the Light Elegance Pro Cleanser and the little brush. I like to get all the dust off and everything and get it all together and dehydrated with that cleanser. Then I'll be using Light Elegance Tack, Air Bond. I'll be using the Natural Pink Cool Gel, Natural Pink Fiber, and also Cosmetic Pink Builder. Do I need to use all three of these? No. Should I have? No. I mean, not that I shouldn't have. Oh, you'll see. I was just being a little extra. And I was looking out for my future self, honestly. So I applied the Air Bond to her natural nail, let that air dry. And then I went in and now I'm applying Light Elegance Tack. And I'm applying that to the entirety of her natural nail and also the entirety of the enhancement. And you might be like, Tabitha, why are you doing that? Because the footage is not in this video, but I go through and rebalance. Rebalance, would that be the correct way to say it? Because it's not rebalance like you would traditionally think. So let me use different verbiage. I go through and fix the curve of her nails a little bit. I'll just say that. So like I said, I don't show it in this video, but I say that to say that I'm going to be applying product to the entirety of her nail. I'm just showing you the feel at this point, which is fine. I just wanted to fix my client's curve. I think it would help her in her everyday life. She didn't ask me. You're like, why did you do it? Just sometimes you got to do what's best for the client, and they weren't perfectly straight. Like I said, I fixed it. Not completely took it away. I kind of made it a little bit less of a curve, because if you can see that pointer finger in the background here, it is very, very, very curved. And that can create an issue, honestly. It makes it hard to function in everyday life sometimes. So I'm filling the nails with Cool Gel, and I apply a slip layer, and then I take a bigger bead, as you can see, and I just fill it in the back of the nail, and go ahead and move the product where I need it to be, get my apex together, and everything of that sort. This nail isn't super curved, so essentially this fill kind of stayed as it was. And like I said, I didn't need to fix the curve of her nail. We can work with it. We can structure it appropriately. But like I said, it's not practical all the time. If that's your life and you want to do it, then that's your business. But it gets extreme sometimes. But nothing's wrong with a little curve. But yeah, anyways. And I'm using the Light Elegance gel polish brush for this application, just in case you're curious. And I'm using the Light Elegance Cool Gel just because I like the consistency. It helps me do a quicker fill, just for that purpose. And now I'm going to go in and sculpt this middle finger out. See, when I am trying to apply the form, my client has a crazy C curve naturally in her nails. And so it indents the actual form. And I tried and I just had to give it up. I knew better. So I essentially need to put some relief cuts in our form. These aren't the most precise. I'm using I couldn't find my scissors. I didn't know where they were. So I'm just using some cuticle nippers and just doing this relief cut. And so I did one and I wanted to measure and do the other. And this is not a deep dive on applying forms. Light Elegance has some great courses and information dedicated to that. I always refer you, they have their LEU bachelor courses, which dive super deep into LE products, the science and everything like that. So yeah. Anyways, so I applied that form. You can see it had a much more flush sit. We don't have the indentation anymore. And this is where I'm using the fiber gel. And I'm using this because it is made with 10% fiberglass. That gives it strength, and it's great for a long enhancement, something like this, especially when you're sculpting out. And you just want to have that stability and that good strong foundation. And my preference when sculpting is just to get a base of the product down. Make sure it's securely attached to the natural nail that I have or the client has, so there's no breakage. And then when you try to remove, there's no breakage when you try to remove the form. So once I get that established, and like I said, I'm making sure we get that product into the sidewalls, make sure we have good adhesion to her natural nail, I'm going to go ahead and flash cure it in the Light Elegance light. And I'm just put on the regular 30 seconds, full heat. It's not really on her natural nail much. And then I'm going to pinch it. Now, like I said, I flash cured it for about 5 seconds, so it's still hot and it's not fully set. So I just kind of pinched it really quick, and I just pinch it with my hand. That's just what I like to do. Then I fully cured it, took the form off, as you can see, and now I'm going to continue to build the actual enhancement even more. This is just my preference because I like to it's basically building out like if you were to apply a nail tip. That's essentially how I use forms, and then I move on with my life. So I applied a little more of that fiber gel, again, just to make sure there's strength in the length of this enhancement. Then I cured that, and now I'm using the cosmetic pink, and you're like, why this? Because I thought about my future self. This client continuously, she always gets, not always, she mostly gets French designs. That's her thing. She likes a beautiful, nice, deep French. So I was thinking about my future self. I didn't want to build like this sheer pink nail, even though it's going to be polished over. I didn't want to build it out, and then next time she comes, and depending on the design, I'm like, I have to file this down and build it up with cosmetic pink. So I just applied it's not the best layer of it, but I went ahead and just got it on there. And then after I established a base of the color, I'm just basically using it for color's sake at this point for my future self. I cure this, then I'm gonna go ahead and get it all leveled out and get my apex built back with back with the cool gel. So this one nail is built with fiber, builder, and cool gel. So yep. And speaking to me filling these nails with cool gel, it was a great idea because at first my client, all her nails were supposed to be solid. So the ones with the deep French were supposed to be just solid pink. Then she decided that she wanted to make them French, and I was like, oh, no problem. But then I realized I didn't apply the nail bed color as I normally would and should. So I had to scramble and find an alternate little sheer color just to polish over it so it can create some evenness. So you'll see that later in the video. It's not the cosmetic pink color, it's another color, just to let you know. So voila, I buffed these. I started shaping them off camera, and the reason I did that is because I told you guys that I got her curve of her nail a little bit together, and so I had to debulk them based on that process. If you're familiar with that type of process, you know it looks crazy. There's some debulking that has to happen. So I basically began that process, and I'm going in with the shaper bit from Light Elegance. It's essentially a diamond bit, a crosscut type diamond bit. And those crosscuts are not flutes or teeth or anything like that. They're just relief cuts so that it helps reduce the heat. And in case you're curious, I'm using this at about 13,000 RPMs. And I love to go in with this bit, and I'm sure you guys are familiar. I really enjoy it just because it helps smooth out those bumps and indentions. And also I like the surface because it leaves it essentially buffed. I don't have to go in with a hand buffer at all, and I like the texture it leaves behind. What you'll catch later in the video is that you can very much see this texture depending on what you're doing. So I'm always mindful what is happening later in my nail process to make sure my order operations and I'm doing the best thing for the final look of my client's nails. So I say that to say you could see the texture that this bit left behind. If I was going to be doing like a chrome effect or burnished effect on a nail, I would approach this a little different. I would go in with an actual hand buffer. I would still probably do this, but go in a hand buffer and kind of reduce those lines a little bit more. But with this set, I didn't need to do that. So I'm using Playful Pink. Again, as I mentioned, I'm using the gel polish brush. I have about 4 or 5 of these on hand. And this Playful Pink is way brighter than it looks on the label of the bottle, just so you know. It's a beautifully bright pink. So I'm going in with the Selena Riden stripey brush. Is that what it's called? I believe so, right? Duh. So I'm going in with this brush and drawing this French. And I kind of drew this a little bit perfect, if I do say so myself, the first time. I only say that because I always flip my client's hand over where their palms are facing up. And you guys know I face my clients that way. And when I flipped their hand over, it was off camera, of course, I looked and I was like, oh, this looks good. I didn't really need to touch it. It hardly ever happens. It's only happened like in my recent history like 3 times. And that's 3 fingers off of 10 fingers on everybody's hand all the time. Yeah, it's not common for me. So, like I said, I'm going in, drawing this French, and people want tips and tricks for Frenches that can't draw a French. You just got to practice, to be honest. Find a side. My biggest tip is to find where you want your French to end on the side walls. And that's really personal preference or your client's preference, how high up or down they want it. There's different degrees and angles and, with my air quotes, depths of French, deep French, shallow French, things like that. French is just its own whole world. So I kind of match up on the left and right side. Usually my default go-to is a little bit past where the free edge starts on towards the side walls. And then the depth of the actual French, if it comes down really far towards the tip or not. It just kind of depends on what the client wants. And yeah, it's just really that. So I am going to be using the flat matte and super shiny later on in the process, but I had them on hand, so I just wanted to show them to you guys. And I'm using the Just White Buttercream, and I'm also using the white art paint sometime in this process when I do some white artwork. And then I'm basically using the black and white art paints and the black and white buttercreams. So to polish the entirety of the nail, I'm using the buttercream, and I really like it. I've used it a couple times lately for actual like full pigment coverage on the nail, as you see me like polishing the whole nail, and I really enjoy it. And I know you're seeing it and it looks crazy, and it's what I said earlier in the video. You can see all that texture. White polish and light polish, they show everything. Like I said, if you're a woman, you understand it's like cellulite and white pants. It's going to show it all. But however, for this use, what I'm doing, it's not a concern because we're going to apply a second coat, and essentially the polish fills in those ridges. You'll see the final photos at the end. You can't tell at all. So once we apply both coats, do our artwork, and top coat, it'll be all smoothed out. Like I said, depending on what I'm doing, it depends on if I would have let the nail stay this way. So I'm just carefully polishing around the cuticle area. When you do white nails, or nails that are very pigmented, and you're like, white's not, white's the brightest color, but it's very pigmented. You can see precisely where it exists at. So I'm trying to make sure that cuticle area is as perfect as I can possibly do it as a human being. And especially against her skin tone, white really stands out on more melanated skin. So it looks very beautiful. It's just the most difficult color. And you see, I had to fix it back there. I'm telling you, I was trying to get the perfect little cuticle area, and she had a little piece of dust, and it made it a little jagged. So I had to kick that piece of dust out and go in with my brush and fix it. So I'm sorry it gets a little blurry. I'm focused in real life, and the camera wants to focus on my hand in the forefront instead of the finger in the background. I'm a nail technician, not a videographer. I try my best. Let's put a thumbs up on the video for me trying my best. So I'm going in with black tie, and this is another buttercream, and this is going to be, of course, for our black nails. And I'm applying it with the gel polish brush again from Elegance. this is all Light Elegance. It's Light Elegance video, guys. And again, same scenario with the white. Black stands out so much. You have to make sure that cuticle area is clean. And just that shape, you want it as perfect shaped as possible. I always like to refer to like that horseshoe shape. Not 100% perfect, but we want to get it as perfect as possible. So you see me just slowly moving in and getting as close as possible without touching the skin. And I just go slowly and get closer and closer. So I'm repeating the same thing here, of course, and I'm polishing this thin at first. When you have very pigmented colors, and black and white are both pigmented colors, to get a good white, it's gonna have to be very pigmented, and you don't want to build up these colors too much. And thankfully, Light Elegance is black. It applies with a little bit of sheerness, which you're like, I don't want that. I want full coverage black. You'll get it. Hear me out. Listen. You want a little bit so you know you get a beautiful cure so that light can penetrate. So I apply it thin to make sure I have it where I want it. Get a little more on the brush while it's still wet. Then I'm building up a little more coverage, but it's not super thick. It's still kind of see-through. Cure it, apply a second coat, very thin, and you're going to have full coverage at the end. That's it. But you have the peace of mind knowing that each layer cured very well. And again, it's also up to you to make sure you're applying it in thin layers. So now I'm going in with a combination of the stripey brush, but for a lot of this design, I'm going in with the swirly brush, again from the Selena Ryden collection of brushes. So with this design, I had a reference photo my client sent me from someone. I don't know where she got the photo from. I always try, so usually on Instagram, I'm able to end up finding who it was. So if I'm able to find out who the inspiration came from, I'll tag them on Instagram. And oh yeah, follow me on Instagram, right? Of course, it's tabitha_scott_nails. So with this design, it's essentially just raindrop shapes for the most part. And when I do like drip designs, I kind of use the same method where I pull out a straight line, and that's why I'm using the stripey brush, and then I take the swirly brush and I'm making the bulbous part. Usually when I do a design like this, when it's drips, these are much smaller shapes, so I use like a dotting tool at the end just to get that bulbous shape and then connect it. So because it is so big, I'm using this swirly brush just to get it filled in. I'm also kind of struggling, and the shape gets a little bit bigger, so I kind of made it smaller because I knew I was gonna have this. I want it to look smooth, you know what I mean? So every time I like make a little mistake, I have to kind of make it a little bit bigger, but it ended up being perfect. Like I said, I kind of took that into consideration as I was kind of drawing it so I could swoop out further and get the smoothest line I possibly could. So in this design, it's just a little swirl, little up and down hill situation. And for the areas that I'm able to, where it's feasible, I go in and take that gel polish brush just to fill in the bulk of that space. So again, I'm just kind of pushing out this shape. Every time I get a little indentation or a part kind of swings out a little further, I kind of bring the design out. And thankfully this is an abstract design, so again, it doesn't have to be perfect. They don't have to be perfectly symmetrical and balanced or anything like that. So I'm just following through using this swirly brush. And if you've been a subscriber for a while, you know that I have a hard time making swirl things. I can draw like geometric things all day for the most part. But as soon as there's like curves involved, oh, I fall apart. The thing is that I love me a long stripey brush. Those are not the brushes to make curves. A brush like this swirly brush that has these short bristles is the ideal brush that you need to make swirly, curvy type shapes. So with the power of both of those, I achieved this. Oh, this is me on my watch. I was using my Apple Watch to refer to the design as I work through it. I just want to show you guys because I thought I was a genius for that. So this is super sped up, as you can see, and I'm just putting the rest of these designs together, and this is me going under the black nail with the white. And for this, I did use a mix of the white gel art paint, or the art gel paint. It's from my Elegance. Like I said, they have their gel art paints, which have a little bit different pigmentation and consistency, and I like to use it with the black over the white just for that pigmentation. And I filled it in with the buttercream just because, like I said, the consistency is a little bit different. It's a little bit thicker, not as easy to fill in. I was just showing this super shiny again, just so you can see me, just so you can, oh, can I speak? Just so you guys can see me polishing it on. And I'll show you a little bit here in the video of me wiping that tacky layer off, because super shiny does leave a tacky or inhibition layer. So I'm just going in on the thumb and again filling in that white, those designs. I'm using that same technique I mentioned, putting that straight line and kind of making that bulbous part come out. Now, with some of them, once they cured, I could see just a little bit of that black peeking through. And so I just went over it a little and filled in that area. And once you top coat, smooth it all out, just perfect. So now I'm going to go ahead and top coat with super shiny on the shiny nails, of course. As mentioned, the other nails are done with the flat matte from Light Elegance. And I'm going to go ahead and throw those in the light. Then I want to point out also, those etches and stuff we had earlier in the video where you could see when I first polished with that white buttercream. You can't see them no more. It's all smoothed out. There's nothing happening, nothing to see. So on this thumb, my client, at the cuticle area, you can see where I buffed. It was wrinkled because it didn't cure properly. It wasn't fully in the light. What I did is I buffed off any of those inconsistencies. I made sure it's fully cured. I pressed on it, make sure it wasn't wet at all. And I buffed to make sure it was smooth. Once I buffed it, ensured it was fully cured, I'm going and applying my super shiny over that, and then that is fixed. Now, it could have been worse. Sometimes you can't get it fully cured. When something like this happens, then you have to redo mostly the whole shebang, but luckily it wasn't that bad. So I just want to show you guys, me troubleshooting the situation. So now I am wiping off the inhibition or tacky layer from the super shiny, and I'm using the Light Elegance Pro Cleanser when I do that. And when you wipe the tacky layer, try to not get the tacky residue on the skin, like that residual stuff. Yeah. So this is our final look, guys, and this is so cute for spring. It's, it's not too bright, it has that pop of pink, but we have that floral abstract drip kind of 70s-ish situation going on. I think it's cute and fun, and the coverage with the white buttercream is amazing. The black is amazing as well, but I know y'all be wanting white for the summer, so here you go. Anyways, I thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up, and let's leave a little drip or flower emoji or something like that. Just whatever you choose, leave something. Thank you for watching. Bye.